Hey Procraftinators! Today I am participating in a video hop with the team Tiny, and the theme is favorites. One of my favorite things to play with, even though I haven't done any videos on my channel, is alcohol inks. And I play with them a little different than most people. Some people use a marker sprayer. Some people use something similar that's got the little squeezy thing on it to clean your camera lenses. Because I have nerve problems in my hands, that constant squeezing like that tends to hurt. I know some people also use a straw. I'm not really, well, even though some family would disagree with this, I'm not really much of a blowhard, so I don't like to use the straw. So what I did was I had my husband purchase me a small airbrush compressor from Harbor Freight. He did, I believe, add some of these little things here. I'm not really sure what all he added. And he bought me a better tube for it. He may have even bought this airbrush. I'm not really sure what all he bought to make it better, but he did. So I use this, and part of the reason why we got this, besides the fact that I don't like to squeeze the little bulb things and I don't like to use the straw, was because I was making alcohol ink ornaments one year, and I was making a lot of them, and we were buying canned air. And canned air, if you buy a lot of it, can be extremely expensive if you're going through a lot of it, like I was, and it can also be wasteful. Because the compressed air bottles, you know, you have to recycle them a certain way and yada yada yada. Anyway, I thought it was wasteful, so one purchase of this gives me as much air as I need. So that's what we did. We bought this, and I love using it for just regular alcohol ink, you know, playing on the Yuba paper and stuff like that. So that's what I did. So I just wanted to explain that this is why I am using this. So while you watch me have fun blowing these alcohol inks around and making an inky mess, I'd like to say that I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday season, and I'm going to be taking a few minutes here to talk a little bit about the Team Tiny Hop. While I'm doing this, I will flash some ink colors on the screen for you. I used a mixture of both regular alcohol inks and alcohol pearls. Okay, so about this hop. It's a little bit different than most. There will not be a link to the next video in my description box, like most hops that you might be familiar with. Instead, you can either search for the hashtag TeamTinyFavorites or click on the hashtag in my video title or my description box below. That will bring up video search results of all the other hop participants' videos. This hop is based on support, encouragement, and growth of small channels and commercial-free content for our viewers. You may be wondering how it could possibly bring you commercial-free content. This is because none of us are big enough to be monetized channels yet. We have not met YouTube's restrictions to become monetized, therefore our channels do not show commercials at the beginning or anywhere during our videos at all. So I hope that you enjoy hopping along to completely commercial-free content. There are some great artists participating in this hop, and I hope that you will go check out the other participants. We would appreciate your support by watching, liking, and commenting on our videos to help us reach our goals. The theme of this hop is favorites. It could be interpreted however we, as the artist, chose to interpret it. I chose a few different things as my favorites. When I was telling my husband about this hop, he actually laughed at me and told me good luck coming up with something to do because everything in the crafting world is my favorite. He is such a smart aleck. Anyways, my favorite things seem to be things that give me inky fingers. I like to think that if my fingers aren't inky, I didn't have enough fun. So the first thing, as I mentioned, is alcohol inks. I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do with the alcohol inks, but I knew I wanted to do something. So I made a couple alcohol ink panels. I am only showing one here, and I ended up only using a bit of one panel in the end. I had something completely different in mind, but my experimentation on it didn't quite work out. I used what wasn't ruined on the panel to cut out a dragonfly using Spellbinder's Botanical Dragonfly set. You will see this later on in the video. Dragonflies are also one of my favorite things, ever since one landed on my wedding dress during my wedding ceremony. My next favorite thing is ink blending. I know many of you don't like to watch this and skip or fast forward through it in the videos, but I love doing it. I'm seriously addicted to ink blending. I'm sure if you aren't new to my channel, you have figured this out by now, since I use it on almost every card. I used distress inks in tumbled glass, broken china, peacock feathers, shaded lilac, and wilted violet. Blue is also one of my favorites, which is why I used it. Purple was just to add a little interest, and because I had decided to use it on my alcohol ink background. I used Bristol Smooth cardstock for my ink blending, and I started in the middle and worked my way out in a circular motion, which seems to be something I am really into right now. I had originally used tumbled glass for my color in the center, but towards the end of my ink blending, I thought that it kind of got lost in the blending and decided to bring in broken china instead to brighten up that blue in the center. I was going for a fairly subtle and pastel colored background for my sentiments and my Dragonfly to sit on. I wanted to use blues and purples like I did on the Dragonfly, but I wanted them to be much lighter than what I used on him. Of course, when I got done blending, I had to spray the background with water to get that wonderful distressed reaction. Then I followed it up with my DIY shimmer spray made with water and perfect pearls. I had also cut the Spellbinder's Persian Garden background die out of Nina Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock to go over my ink blended piece, and adhered that with Nuvo Deluxe adhesive once I was finished with my ink blended panel. Next it was time to assemble my Dragonfly. I cut the main pieces of the Dragonfly out of the alcohol inked piece, which was done on Yupo paper. There are some solid pieces to the wings, and I cut those out of iridescent vellum. I adhered the Yupo wings and the vellum wings together only at the end points that would attach to the body, so it would give a dimensional look. Next, it was time to adhere the wings to the body. I struggled with this part. The glue did not want to adhere the Yupo paper wings to the Yupo paper body. I got the one wing attached using Distress Collage Medium in matte, but for some reason the other wing gave me issues. I cut a lot of this out of the video so you didn't have to watch me struggle forever, but I ended up using a small piece of 1/8 inch score tape to adhere the other wing on, and if I was going to do this again in the future, I would just use the score tape. Next you see I have some sentiments here. I struggled with what to use for sentiments on this card, so I googled Dragonfly quotes or something to that effect, and I searched for quite a while for something that I liked. I ended up coming up with this quote: "Dragonflies symbolize our ability to overcome hardship. They can remind us to take time to reconnect with our own strength, courage, and happiness." Once I saw this quote, I knew exactly who this card needed to go to. My husband's aunt is having a difficult time right now. Her husband has been ill for quite some time, and she is his caregiver. The holidays have been rough for her, so I decided that this was a good sentiment for her, and the card would go to her. This leads me to my next favorite thing, using my Cricut to write sentiments and cut around them. I typed the sentiments in Design Space, and then I chose a shape to attach the sentiment to. Next I decided to ink blended shaded lilac around the edges to bring out a bit more of the purple colors in my card. Lastly, it was time to adhere all the elements with foam tape and attach the card to the card front to the card base. I use X-Fasten foam tape that I bought off of Amazon, and I make my own card bases from Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock. I hope that you enjoyed my card today, and that you will check out the other makers in the hop. Don't forget that all you have to do is click the Team Tiny Favorites hashtag in my video title or the description box below, or you can search the hashtag within YouTube to bring up the other participants' videos in the hop. As always, have a great day.